Hi, for today's devotion, I'd like to share with you the parable of the talents taken from Matthew chapter 25, verses 14 to 30. For the kingdom of heaven is like a man traveling to a far country who called his own servants and delivered his goods to them. And to one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, and to another 1, to each according to his own ability. And immediately he went on a journey. Then he who had received the 5 talents went and traded with them, and made another 5 talents. And likewise, he who had received 2 gained 2 more also. But he who had received 1 went and dug in the ground and hid his Lord's money. And after a long time, the Lord of those servants came and settled accounts with them. Now here we can see that there is a master, and he's very rich, and he's going on a journey. And before he went on his journey, he called his 3 servants, and he delivered his goods to them. Now what kind of goods are these? It's called talents. Now we don't mistaken this kind of talents as the talents that we talk about today. Today we may talk about talents as some kind of special giftings or ability, or you can see these kind of things in America Got Talent, Malaysia Got Talent, or UK Got Talent. No, it's not this. The talents that we talk about here in the Bible is a kind of unit measure for gold. In the ancient Bible times, talent is a measurement of gold, and 5 talents is equal to about something like $5 million today. So 1 talent is about $1 million. So it's a lot of money. He gave $5 million to one servant, and $2 million to another one, and $1 million to the third one. And then immediately he went on for a long journey. And the servants, as we read here, the first servant immediately he went on to do business, and he traded with the 5 talents, and he made another 5. Likewise, the one who received 2 talents also made another 2. But the third servant did not do the same. He didn't do anything. Instead, he dug a hole in the ground and hid his master's money. Now let's continue to read, because in verse 19, it says, after a long time, the Lord of those servants came and settled accounts with them. So he who had received 5 talents came, brought 5 other talents, saying, Lord, you delivered to me 5 talents. Look, I have gained 5 more talents beside them. His Lord said to him, well done, good and faithful servant. You were faithful over a few things. I will make you ruler over many things. Enter into the joy of your Lord. He who had received 2 talents came and said, Lord, you delivered to me 2 talents. Look, I have gained 2 more talents beside them. His Lord said to him, well done, good and faithful servants. You have been faithful over a few things. I will make you ruler over many things. Enter into the joy of your Lord. Now when the master came back, he wanted accountability from his 3 servants. So the 2 servants came, the 2 servants who traded and make money, and they double it. They came, and the first servant said to the master, look, master, the 5 talents you gave me, I make another 5. Here you are. And the master responded, well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over a few things. I will make you ruler over many things. Enter into the joy of your Lord. So the second servant came, likewise also presented to the master the 2 more talents that he made from the 2 talents that the master gave to him. And the master was equally happy and said the same thing to the second servant. But what happened to the third servant? Let's read what is in the account of this parable. Then he who had received the 1 talent came and said, Lord, I knew you to be a hard man, reaping where you have not sown, gathering where you have not scattered seed. And I was afraid and went to hide your talent in the ground. Look, there you have what is yours. But his Lord answered and said to him, you wicked and lazy servant, you knew that I reap where I have not sown, and gather where I have not scattered seed. So you ought to have deposited my money with the bankers, and at my coming I would have received back my own with interest. So take the talent from him and give it to him who has 10 talents. For to everyone who has, more will be given, and he will have abundance. But from him who does not have, even what he has will be taken away, and cast the unprofitable servant into the outer darkness. There will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Now it's very strange that this third servant, he has a totally different understanding of the master, very different from the first two servants. He thought of the master as someone that is unreasonable, somebody who is very hard, unreasonable. He will reap where he had not sown and gather where he had not scattered. So it's almost like unreasonable. It's almost like a robber. He just go and take things that does not belong to him. So this is how the third servant perceived the master. And the master called him wicked and lazy, and he was punished. Well, what do we learn from this parable? We can learn many things. We can learn about financial management. How do we manage our finance? We can learn about talents and giftings. What talents do we have? What kind of giftings do we have, and how do we use them? We can learn about, success comes from hard work, because we learned that the two servants actually worked very hard to double what the master had given to them. We also learned that we are not created equal, because it says that the master gave the talents to them according to their ability. So we all have different abilities. And we can double whatever the master has given to us. In my business, I work with some Jewish people. It's almost like the mindset of Jewish people that when they are in business, they must double whatever they invest. I work with a Jewish investor. They always tell me, Hin Choi, how can we double this investment? This is in their mindset, to double. Every time is to double. And in business, we also learn that we should not fear taking risks. In business, even in ministry, we have to take risks in what we do. But most important is, at the end, we must remember we are accountable. We have to be accountable to God. I would like to give you 3 questions for you to reflect over this parable. First question, are you a steward or are you an owner? Now the choice to this question will make a big difference to your lifestyle. If you are a steward, you will believe that everything that you have belongs to God. And if you are a steward, you will use all the resources that God has given to you to advance His kingdom. And if you are a steward, you will look forward to the day of the master's return. But if you are an owner, that is very different. An owner, everything belongs to you. You don't need accountability. You will spend and do whatever you like. That is an owner. Are you an owner? I leave that to you to answer. Question 2. What is your view on God? We can learn a lot from the third servant. The third servant's view on God is totally different from the 2 faithful servants. The third servant thought of the master as somebody that is unreasonable. Sometimes, in ministry, we can think like that as well, like the third servant, that why God asked me to do things that are so difficult? Why God asked me to do this? Why God asked me to do that? We can complain and complain. But the thing is, do we think of God as somebody who is kind and compassionate, as the Bible describes? That He's merciful and He will supply us. Jehovah Jireh will supply all our needs. Now let me ask you a question, a very honest question. If you measure yourself from 1 to 5 talents, do you think you are a 1 talent man or a 5 talent man? Or a 2, 3 or 4? If you ask me, I can tell you I'm just a 1 talent man. I'm an ordinary person. But I will not be like the third servant. I want to be like the first and second servant, to use the 1 talent that God has given to me and make another 1. And it will become 2. From the 2 talents that I now have, I will make another 2. And this is what I will use my talent for the kingdom of God. Number 3, last question. What is valuable to God? Is it your money? Is it your material wealth, your possession? Is it your talent and your giftings? Or is it your ministry in the church? Or could it be your obedience? Your obedience to what God asks you to do? What He has called you to do? Or is it your faithfulness? I leave these 3 questions for you to reflect and ponder. Take some time, reflect over it, and I believe God will speak to your heart. Thank you.